here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Hi, this is Tom Osborne. Join me on September 23rd and dine at your favorite local Renza in support of Teammates Mentoring. 10% of Renza sales on September 23rd will benefit your local Teammates Mentoring chapter. Teammates Mentoring helps students reach their full potential by providing a caring adult mentor to meet with them once a week in school. Thank you for your support of Teammates Mentoring. We will see you at Runza on September 23rd.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Big news, Nebraska! Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska Insider today. Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail and their upscale deal with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
Hi, everybody. Charlie Stone back again with Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, there are so many great things to talk about right now. Let's start with new and pre-owned vehicles.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, we're all excited those days of inventory shortages are behind us. Right now, we have more than 400 new Hondas to choose from and over 125 pre-owned with just about any make or model in stock.
I know certified pre-owned Hondas are a very important part of your dealership. Tell us about Certified, Andy.
We always have a great selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in stock in like new condition, and they also come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
How about service?
Our amazing service department not only services Hondas, but we service just about any make, and we are one of the largest tire dealers in the state. Look us up the next time you need tires on your car.
Experience the best at the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Tune in every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. for the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Sit back and enjoy listening to Dr. Chatters discuss real stories involving struggle, inspiration, and real-life experiences with special guests and insights. Remember, the higher the pressure, the greater the lift. The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome into Serve and Volley, featuring Nebraska assistant coach and recruiting coordinator Jaylen Reyes. Serve and Volley gives you a look behind the curtain of Nebraska volleyball and a coach's perspective on the world of college athletics. Serve and Volley is sponsored by Love Volleyball Nebraska. Become a Love Volleyball Nebraska member for your chance to engage with Love and its players. Now it's time for First Serve on Serve and Volley with your host, Jaylen Reyes.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights, debuting another show right after we just debuted the new show with Peter Colbelt. This is Serve and Volley with Nebraska Volleyball assistant coach Jaylen Reyes. And again, this show sponsored by League One Volleyball. League One Volleyball Omaha just rebranded as Love Volleyball Nebraska. You can become a Love Volleyball member and get exclusive access to players, coaches, and other fans today by going to lovb.com. You can also purchase your season tickets there for your chance to see Olympians, All-Americans, and national champions all take the floor for Love Volleyball Nebraska. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. All great ways to put a face to the voice. Like I said, we got the host of the show, assistant coach, Jaylen Reyes to my left. Jaylen, how's it going on a Tuesday night?
Harrison, thanks for having me. It's doing awesome, and yeah, it's great to be here. Can't believe we're here.
Yeah, well, when DP starts talking, once you get to know him, you start realizing the things materialize a little bit quicker than maybe you would even anticipate. But nonetheless, since it is the first show, we're going to dive into the background. I think more, maybe a little bit more fitting. And then, of course, we do got Michigan tomorrow, 6 p.m., opening up conference play. We'll definitely lean into that towards the later end of the show. So if you guys have questions about it, you guys want to ask the assistant coach yourself, you can text in 402-464-5685. But nonetheless, Jaylen, we'll just start with your background. I was looking up a little bit. Did not realize, originally from Hawaii, native-born Hawaiian.
That's me.
And then your father coaching volleyball as well. So was it one of those things where at a young age, you just remember growing up, watching volleyball and being involved with it?
I know this is like super cliche, but I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do since I was probably 6th, 7th grade. Didn't think it would take me all the way to Nebraska. But yeah, my dad coached college volleyball for 40 years, men's and women's, from Southern Illinois to Weber State to University of Hawaii on the men's and women's side to Oregon State to Weber State, all over, honestly. And it's actually the year that I was born, 1992. He got one of his the coach that he actually played for at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Mike Wilton got the job at the University of Hawaii on the men's side and hired my dad, and they were there from when I was born till when I was a junior in high school. So I didn't really play. I was, kind of grew up in Hawaii doing all the outdoor sports, playing, baseball, basketball, a little bit of surfing, beach volleyball. And it was when I was a 7th grader, my a club team asked my dad if I would play just because they needed a couple other players to go to nationals. It was actually in Minneapolis. Went to nationals for the first time playing, club volleyball, and literally after that, I basically gave everything up, and wanted to, be a college volleyball player. That was the goal, and started going to work a lot with dad, whether it was in the mornings when they would practice or during their season in the spring. I would, go to school and then have volleyball practice, and then I would go to their practices, and I just kind of spent more time around the office. And I always thought, oh, dad gets paid to go to volleyball practice. Obviously learning now it's a lot more than that. But, ever since, I think even before I was in high school, I always wanted to, dream was to play college volleyball and was to coach college volleyball one day, and had no idea what that would look like. But I'm definitely living out the dream that I wanted since I was probably a 6th or 7th grader.
How big is volleyball in Hawaii?
It's huge. Boys and girls.
The
huge.
beach volleyball makes a lot of sense to me.
Beach volleyball is huge. It's just in the culture there. It's very much like Nebraska, but for an example, in high school, state championship game, we played against. I went to this school called Kamehameha, where you have to be like Native Hawaiian to go to. We'd always play against Punahou, which is, anyone that knows Hawaii, Punahou is like where, probably the most famous person to go to Punahou is President Obama. Manti Te'o for us football fans out there, a bunch of other great athletes, but they're really, really gifted in volleyball, especially on the boys' side. Our my junior and senior, the state championship game, we played them. We played in front of 5,000-6,000 people. So that for a high school volleyball game, that's a lot of people. So volleyball is big in the state of Hawaii. And for an example, like on the men's side, in the last Olympic Games, there's only 12 Olympians that get chosen for the men's or women's team. 3 of them were from Honolulu. So you think about it, 3 out of 12 are from one small little island. So volleyball has always been big there. It's huge. Obviously on the beach side, it's really, really big. And but even in the indoor game, it's really popular, especially even at the high school level.
Okay, and we'll get into the coaching a little bit later. But as you fell in love with it, was there any part of you that thought about the coaching aspect as well, or you just wanted to play it at the college level and be an athlete?
I had the advantage that my dad did it,
right?
So I always loved the sport. Once I started playing it, I fell in love with it. But the coaching piece of it, in terms of that's what I wanted to do growing up, was seeing like the effect that my dad had on young college students that at the time when I was, 9, 10, 11, 12 going into high school, I really looked up to. And I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world that those guys really respected my dad and respected the job he did for them. And that was something that I wanted to, have with my college coaches when I went to go and play, and then, look to kind of give it back and pay it forward, I guess, someday when I, hopefully got to coach college.
Absolutely. And then at what point did you realize, like, what, I'm pretty good at this thing? Was it, pretty early on that you figured out a talent for it? And then like kind of that senior year of high school, actually going to the college level, was there a moment where it clicked where that was a possibility? And was it earlier or later?
You're talking about as a player?
Yeah, as a player.
I always thought I was a really good player. I had the luxury of growing up in this like this time period in Hawaii where for volleyball fans out there, there's a couple of families like the Shojis. The Shojis are their dad, Dave, was like a long time 40, 50-year coach at the University of Hawaii women's team. And he had a couple of boys that were just older than me. And there was a couple other families, last names, the Crabs or the McKibbins. And I'm a little younger than some of their kids, but we all grew up kind of around the same time. So if I'm being honest, I was like one of the average volleyball players in the group. Like we would go down to the beach, and I remember we would play, all morning, all day. I'd go home, and my dad or my mom would ask me, "How'd you do today?" And I just go, "Mom, Dad, just super bummed. I couldn't win. I can't win a game, And I remember my dad used to tell me, like, "Son, you'll one day realize you're playing with some of the best volleyball players, honestly, in the world. That's just who you play pickup with. You just don't know it. So you're in the
pond with the biggest fish."
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, both Shojis were Olympians. A guy that I went to high school with, he's actually still the setter for the men's national team, Michael Christensen. We're high school classmates. Him and I would play together a lot. He's going to be in LA. He'd be going for his 4th Olympics. I mean, that's 4 Olympics is it's 16, 17 years of playing professionally overseas. And then a couple of guys that have been beach Olympians as well in these last couple of Olympic games, like Taylor Crabb and Tri Bourne. These are the guys that I'd honestly just go down to the beach and get my butt kicked all the time. And a couple of us would play on club teams together. So Micah Christensen was recruited by everybody. Taylor Crabb was recruited by everybody. There was a couple other guys that were recruited by everybody. I was recruited a little bit, but I wasn't as talented, especially at that age, as they were. I think now I look back and I go, man, I was actually pretty good. It's just I compared myself to those guys. And it was like, I mean, those guys were, some of them in high school, everyone would thought they were going to be Olympians, which is pretty crazy to think about. So I don't know. I think it was my senior year. I got recruited by a few schools, actually, I went to Cal State Northridge out of high school, went there, redshirt, and then transferred to BYU. But I feel like for me, I don't know. I tend to be a little humble about it, but at the same time, I thought I was pretty good. It's just, man, our club team and the guys that I grew up playing with and against, they were really, really talented. And some of them were multi-time All-Americans, Olympians, national champions. And I mean, I feel like the fact that I always kept getting the text to come back, keep playing. Now I'm like, man, it's something that I actually wear with pride when I tell people, just because it's like, man, I got to play with some of the best players that are still the best players, some of them on the planet right now.
Yeah, was it like by senior year too? Probably maybe it clicked like when you saw those guys' offers rolling in, like, okay, these guys are.
Yeah,
I can see why.
So some of them are older than us, right? So it's like, okay, a couple of them, they go to college right away. They go to Stanford, they go to USC, and they're freshmen All-Americans, national freshman of the year. You're just like, oh, okay, we know he's pretty good, but now he's going to college and doing that. And then some of them end up winning national championships. One of them was the national player of the year. My buddy that I went to high school with, Micah, he was, the setter of the year 4 years in a row. It'd be like a quarterback winning the Davy. Is it the Maxwell? The Maxwell's the quarterback one, or the Davy O'Brien Award 4 years in a row as a freshman through his senior year. Like, that's kind of unheard of. Like, that's what he did, and I'm just like, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, okay, I knew we were pretty good, but I didn't realize, like, man, even nationally, because sometimes in Hawaii, when you grow up in Hawaii, it's a little isolating sometimes. You don't get to see all the mainland competition. Like, if we grew up in California, I think we would probably
compete at least a lot more.
You would compete a little bit more. You'd see like where on the food chain you stand. Versus we'd come to the mainland a couple of times and we play in some tournaments. We would do really well, but okay, you go up there, you play for 4 days. Sure, you win a gold medal. It's like, where do we really stand? But when we all went to college and we all had successes, whether some of us were older or younger, I mean, it was a really, even now I look back on it and go, wow, this was a really, really cool time to grow up and play volleyball. And I get to say, like, I used to go and play pickup with this guy who's a 2-time, 3-time Olympian. I used to play pickup with this guy who's, led the money list on the AVP tour this past summer. Like, these are the people that I got to play with and call buddies and, hang out with. So I don't know. In the volleyball world, I think I'm very blessed because I just happen to be born the right time.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you do with it, though. I mean, you could take it for granted, and you used it to your advantage, which is a smart thing to do. You guys still keep in touch pretty well?
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a crazy circle, kind of where all you guys are at.
I mean, it's crazy. Some of them, I'll use Micah for an example. Micah Christensen, he's actually down in the Philippines right now playing in the World Championship still. So he's down there right now. Him and I are pretty tight. Taylor Crabb and I are pretty tight. He was the guy Taylor Crabb was probably the best outside hitter in the country in our recruiting class, especially from Hawaii. He went to Long Beach State, was National Player of the Year as a 6-foot outside hitter. And in the men's game, that would be the equivalent of in the women's game, a 5'8" outside hitter was the National Player of the Year.
What was this dude's vertical?
I mean, it was 40 inches,
unreal.
40 inches plus, but I mean, he was just such a gifted volleyball player. So he ends up being a beach Olympian. Now he's trying to qualify with a guy that I actually went to college with too. His name is also Taylor. So it's Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb. But I would say I'm probably the two closest with those guys just because we are also the same age. And whenever I get to see a couple of the other guys too, it's kind of like, it's just like yesterday. Some of them are in coaching, which is kind of fun. Some of them are still playing. Some of them just retired from playing now that we're getting up there in age, which is crazy to think about. But But yeah, a lot of them are, whenever I get to go home, we always run into each other and talk volleyball, talk life. Obviously they still are volleyball fans. So they're like, well, Jaylen, you happen to be coaching like one of the easiest volleyball programs to follow. So it's pretty cool. And some of them were actually here for volleyball day in Nebraska a couple years ago, which was pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool. They just kind of hear about it and want to go down, or you invite them?
Two of them were actually here for, they were here with USA Volleyball. USA Volleyball kind of sent a contingent of players. And because it was early enough in the calendar, a lot of the players didn't go overseas or to Europe to play for their pro teams yet. My buddy Micah and then Eric Shoji, who's been the libero the last 3 Olympics. They were both got here and took in volleyball day. And it was cool for them to see like, okay, this was like maybe my job on steroids that day, but like they get to see like, wow, volleyball is big in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's man, that day's still crazy. I think we're still seeing the ripple effects, and we'll probably see them until the day I die. Like what that one day alone did for not just volleyball, but women's sports as a whole, because, pretty soon after Iowa, they're going to do it with Caitlin Clark. They didn't quite sell it out the way Memorial Stadium did, but you saw this growth in women's sports. And volleyball day, to my mind, is like a huge part of that, because it was something that, how are you going to look away?
Right.
Like that, you back Memorial Stadium to that capacity. And at the end of the day, a lot of these things are about business and numbers. 92,000+ people is a pretty easy thing to sell.
Oh, yeah.
And it was massive for Nebraska volleyball. And to this day, probably one of the coolest things that the University of Nebraska has pulled off. But that being said, though, back to your playing career. So you go over, you make a transfer, BYU. How many years did you play?
4 years. I got to play all 4 years, which was crazy. I'll be the first one to admit I was definitely not ready to play my first year. I was a good player. But I definitely made a jump after my first year. But it just, everything in college sports sometimes is just timing, right? It was just the year before I got there, they had 2 senior liberos. I was a libero in college, and they both just happened to graduate, and I just kind of walked in at the right time. And I worked really hard, but by the time I was a sophomore, I was much better. My junior and senior, I think I was pretty good. But my freshman year, it was like, oh boy, I still thank the coaches for just being super patient with me and my teammates, just because, in high school, I was a setter and a hitter. I didn't really play libero. You still serve receive, but it's one thing to like really be a different position. And my first game as a libero was like was my first college start. So,
I did not know. So you were a libero in college, not at the high school level.
Yep. I was a libero in college. I was a hitter. I was mainly a hitter, like outside hitter in high school and club, and got recruited to play libero. That was typically like somebody like me who's about 6'1", 6 feet. Unless you can jump like 40 inches like my buddy Taylor Crabb, you're typically like not physical enough, because you're playing against, we had at BYU, we had guys that outsides that were 6'5", 6'6", or 6'4", but could touch 12 feet. So that's like 43-inch vertical, and then obviously we had a bunch of guys that were 6'7", 6'8", 6'10" outside hitters. So let's just say I was a little vertically challenged both ways, so staying on the ground and passing the ball for all those guys was kind of my role. But I got a lot better in college. I was a good player coming out of high school. I wasn't quite at that level, but I've worked really hard. I think my teammates like playing with me, and I was as fiery as I am as a coach, and I think some people see that on the sidelines. I was very much like that as a player. Lainey Choboy, her and I play like very similar playing styles in terms of running around the court and stuff like that. But yeah, my freshman year was we were really talented. I think we finished like 4th in the country, but I'll admit I wasn't ready to play yet. For people that are coaches or players out there, when you kind of have this like perspective and understand like, gosh, what was I even doing out there? That was me my freshman year.
Yeah, well, I'd mentioned the coaches too just knew like we're putting this kid in the spot where he's going to have to take some lumps along the way, just because obviously they probably knew that you're not familiar with playing that libero position, but they stuck with it, and then it paid off dividends at the end. What was the toughest thing, like going from high school to playing college volleyball and being on that college volleyball schedule, especially at a big school like BYU?
I would say the biggest, if you're talking about just specifically volleyball, like the speed of the game, it's so fast. For those who haven't watched men's volleyball, it's a little different from women's in terms of the fact that there's not that much rally. It's pretty like a pure like pass, set, hit, kill. There's a ton of service errors because in the men's game, everyone's jump spike serving. So you kind of have to, You have to, because it's just really hard to play defense against guys that are jumping out of the back row. I mean, guys that jump out of the back row and hit the ball, I mean, you're really just setting them in the front row. They just have to jump,
Mm-hmm.
Behind the 10-foot line, which in at that level is nothing to those guys. It's there's so few teams that have it, that it's like if you get to play at this level, you're like the 1 percentile of men's volleyball players in the country, just because it's not as vast as women's, where every school has it. There's like 40-ish D1, D2 schools that even have it. So the fact that per record, it's like 300 something Division I schools that have women's volleyball. So just if you do the math there, it's not an equitable amount of opportunities. So like if you get them, you're pretty elite, just because the fact that not everyone has a chance to play. So, but yeah, I would say the speed of the game is probably the biggest. The second thing was, I would say, is just going to school, not growing up LDS or Mormon. Going to BYU was just a different experience. It was awesome. Honestly, it was one of those things where if I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know, I wouldn't have changed anything, because it was so good for me. It was something that I was looking forward to, in terms of, I had a lot of friends that were already on the team there, and the Mormon or LDS culture is very big in like Polynesian culture and in Hawaii. So I was very like, I went to high school with a lot of Mormons. Some of my friends growing up were Mormon. That stuff didn't shy away. I didn't shy away from that stuff. But I went there. I also wanted just something different. Growing up in Hawaii, we always kind of joke, we have 3 seasons. I always try to ask people, what do you think the 3 seasons are in Hawaii? And everyone says, well, you don't have winter, so it's got to be spring, summer, and fall. And I tell them, no, the 3 seasons are last summer, this summer, next summer. Those are the 3 seasons, So I wanted to just experience something different. And
really, you actually got tired of like the endless beautiful days.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy now when you think about it, especially as we're moving through fall and headed into winter here in a little bit. But you just grow up on an island, a little small island. Typically, if you don't leave during your college years, you never leave, So I just wanted to experience something different. And just through my dad and all his travels, like he always kind of talked to me about what it would be like living in the mainland and stuff like that. And just because of my dad's role at the time, I got, people that I met growing up were the head coach of Penn State, the head coach of UCLA, the head coach of UC Irvine, the head coach of Stanford. Those were, people that I knew growing up. So I was really familiar with a lot of people just because of my dad's access to volleyball and to volleyball coaches. So that was one big thing that I really wanted was different but that's what I was searching for in my college experience, was just something different than Hawaii. I know it sounds crazy, but Hawaii will always be home. But I'm so thankful that, I went to BYU and I got a great education and I got to play on some really, really talented volleyball programs. And BYU too, just like Nebraska. Nothing's like Nebraska, but us and Hawaii are the 2 schools on the men's side that get sellout crowds and that people sprint into the arenas to watch. And, especially when we had it rolling when I was in college, we had people that would be camping out, students would be camping out to come to our games in the wintertime, which is crazy.
I was going to say, that's incredible. I didn't realize BYU's fandom for men's volleyball.
We play in the Smithfield House, and it's about, I don't know, fire marshals would probably disagree with this, but we say I can seat 5,000, but we would be packing people into just random spaces. So much so people would be sitting in stands, parts of the field house, and the event staff would be pulling back curtains so they could just fit more people and people could see.
That's incredible.
But it was just a really awesome time to be in college volleyball. And I think as you talk to, I always hear NBA players talk about, hey, the generation in the 90s versus now, right? I'm so biased. I think when we were in college, our generation was so talented just because of the guys that I grew up with and the guys that were in my recruiting class from all around the country and guys that were a little older than us and a little younger than us. So, it was like everybody was so good. And it didn't matter whether we're playing the big brand name schools like UCLA, Stanford, Penn State, or if we were playing Hawaii, UC Irvine, UC San Diego. BYU men's volleyball was a tough ticket. And, growing up in Hawaii where volleyball was super important and now going to BYU where volleyball was super important. And obviously now I'm at the place where, in my opinion, volleyball is the most important. It was just really awesome to be where, hey, the sport that I play or coach matters to a lot of people outside of this team.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we are up to our first break here. On the other side, we'll dive into a little bit more of when coaching becomes part of the picture. So don't go anywhere. Again, this is the debut of Serve and Volley assistant coach Jaylen Reyes here of Nebraska Volleyball, Jaylen Reyes of Nebraska Volleyball. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day. See a high around 71. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, mainly cloudy skies with a low around 58. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies with a light breeze. An afternoon high near 74. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts has been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrollouts.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rollouts, cleanup made simple.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Tune in every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. for The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Sit back and enjoy listening to Dr. Chatters discuss real stories involving struggle, inspiration, and real-life experiences with special guests and insights. Remember, the higher the pressure, the greater the lift. The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Welcome into Serve and Volley with your host, Nebraska assistant coach and recruiting coordinator, Jaylen Reyes.
All right, welcome back in segment number 2, Serve and Volley with Nebraska Volleyball assistant coach Jaylen Reyes. You guys can always join in, start him in text line or via the streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allen Channel 961. Going to get into a little bit more of the coaching part. 4 years at the university. Well, 3 years, or did you have a super year? An extra year?
At BYU?
BYU, yeah.
So I played there for 4, and then I coached there for 3.
Okay.
So technically I spent 7 straight years there, but I went straight from playing into coaching.
Okay, straight from playing to coaching. At what point was the coaching thing becoming a reality for you?
Well, I knew I always wanted to do it, right? We were talking about that earlier, and it's funny. So people that don't know, men's volleyball is in the spring. It's opposite of women's volleyball. So the men's season is during the spring. It's January to May. May is the Final Four. So we finish up and graduated, and all the beginning of the summer, I'm all in on trying to find a contract to play overseas. And out of nowhere, there's a coaching staff like shuffle at BYU on the men's side, and there's an assistant job that popped up, and out of nowhere, I just was kind of asked to apply for it. Would I be interested in it? And we were going to be really good. I knew after my senior year, I had a bunch of, when my senior year, there was only 3 of us that graduated.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of younger players that got a lot of playing time. And then we actually had this phenomenal athlete. His name was Ben Patch. Ben was coming back off his mission, and he was going to join the team later that fall. So I just knew we were going to be really good. And I always had this thing where, you see a lot of guys that go and play, and if they don't quite make the national team, then they try to get into coaching. They kind of have to, and there's nothing wrong with working your way up through the ranks,
right?
But coach club, volunteer at a certain college, do the GA route, which is great. But I just kind of thought man, if we get to go there and we do really well, we go to a couple Final Fours, I might be able to kind of parlay this into never did I think it would be Nebraska, but I just thought maybe I can kind of springboard my coaching career. And at the time I was only 21, 22 years old. I was a late born kid. So I graduated college at 21, 22 years old. So I just thought man, if I were to, do a good job and we were to do a good job, maybe this could lead to something a little quicker than, people that are around my age now are starting to finally get those big assistant jobs on the women's side. I just got lucky and kind of was literally in the right place at the right time. So that summer it kind of materialized, and I decided not to play anymore and just go into coaching, and coached there for 3 years, got to coach a lot of pretty much the whole team I just played with. So I got to coach a lot of my former teammates. And
what was that kind of relationship? Is it a little tough at first, or
I think in the beginning it was just not being one of the guys anymore. That was the most difficult part. The volleyball piece, like once we were in the gym, I don't think so, because I think my teammates / players now respected me as a volleyball person. But it's more of like the, hey, after practice, before practice, hey, what happens when people aren't doing the things they need to be doing, showing up late to stuff. Now I kind of have to be the, the bad guy or the enforcer and stuff like that. And that was that took some transitioning for sure. So, but yeah, got to be there for 3 years. We did go to 3 straight Final Fours, which was awesome. And then in the spring of 18, I had no idea what 402, the area code was. So got a text from the 402 number and basically, hey, Tyler Hildebrandt's going to be leaving. He's going to go with USA Volleyball and looking to get a list of, potential assistants. And at the end of that text, it just said JC. I was like, is this John Cook? Googling what's 402? And it's like Lincoln, Nebraska. Showing a coworker of mine, like, is this John Cook?
It's an anonymous JC at the end there.
I wish I could just scroll back and read that exact text, but it was, that's the first time we ever made contact was through a text message. That was the first time I ever met. Obviously texting, he reached out to me and I reached back out to him and we hopped on the phone, probably a day or two later, but it was, that's kind of how the coaching career started. Was just, I always wanted to be a college coach. I always had dreams of, coaching in college, coaching in the Olympics, not necessarily ever playing in the Olympics. So my thought was just like, how can I jumpstart a career and maybe get out ahead of people my age that were still trying to play and stuff like that. And do I wish I played overseas a little? But again, it's just like me going to BYU. If I could do it all over again, knowing what I known, I wouldn't change a thing.
Absolutely. Were you recruiting as well over there at BYU or no?
Yeah, I actually, the coaching staff changed. The thing that really helped me was the fact that I just knew a lot of club coaches and players. And on the men's side, it's really small.
Mm-hmm.
But the new coach of BYU, he was the women's coach. So he had no recruiting. He never coached men's volleyball. So he had no recruiting contacts on that side. And then the other coach, his name was actually Luca Slabe. Luca is actually now going to be the head coach of the Supernovas, which is pretty funny. But Luca was coming over. He was a BYU grad too, but he was coming over from Europe. So it kind of worked out great for me in terms of like, I knew what clubs to recruit from and I knew a lot of players. So I honestly think that was part of the reason why I got the job. And the first thing when I got hired was Sean Olmstead, my former boss at BYU. He basically kind of handed that to me. Like, you're going to be doing the recruiting because you just know more people on that side than he came over the women's side and Luca was coming over from Europe. So I was kind of the point of contact and I had no idea what I was doing. I was 21, 22 years old. The best conversations when I would talk to parents and they would go, Jaylen, how old are you? And if I'm recruiting a junior or senior, I'm like, well, like 3 or 4 years older than your son,
Like give him like a vote of confidence.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those things. They're looking at me and they're like, how old are you? Like, I'm 22 years old, but I promise I can help your son become a better volleyball player, So it's just kind of one of those things where, I just super fortunate. And, we happen to, it was calculated, but at the same time, it takes a lot to get teams to compete and win at the rate we did. And, we were lucky enough to make it to a couple of Final Fours and, and I think I helped us like recruit a couple of kids that maybe necessarily wouldn't have come to BYU. BYU, you have this LDS cloud or Mormon cloud that kind of floats over BYU. And that could be a good, or sometimes a hindrance to recruiting, especially of recruiting people that are not of the Mormon faith. But we got a couple of players that, I think maybe turned some people's heads at like, what? They're going to BYU? But, they went there for school and volleyball. And that's kind of the reason why I did. I think I kind of gave them a different perspective, I think, just because I wasn't, of the Mormon faith. And I still went there. I still chose to still be there and, really succeeded there and had a really, really positive experience. So going through that, I think it really, I think that kind of helped recruiting as well too. I think I'm also pretty personable, so I think that really helped, even though I was young and kind of came here and started doing the same thing.
Absolutely, that makes sense too. I don't think DP would give you a radio show if you didn't think you were a very personal person out there. So I think there's definitely some truth to that. Going back to Nebraska then, so I was curious because obviously I know you recruit for us. That's why I want to make sure you're doing that BYU as well. But realization that it is JC of Lincoln, Nebraska, it is John Cook reaching out, and I know he said he called you a couple days later. What was kind of that process like? And then when you realize you're going to be at Nebraska, did you have a good idea on what this place kind of was already?
Process was very extensive, actually. I mean, gosh. Okay, so this probably started in February. Yeah, it was like I remember actually the text. It was on President's Day, so I know it was in February. And he was actually in town in Salt Lake City recruiting. So he was an hour north of where we were in Provo. Again, we're in season, so we were practicing that day. He was actually going to come to practice. He knew Sean and Luca, my two coworkers at BYU at the time. But I remember like yesterday, there was this like massive snowstorm. I mean, honestly, for people in Utah, a massive snowstorm is like feet of snow.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those where there was enough snow where coach didn't want to drive down the highway. So to other people, a massive snowstorm, to us Utah people at the time, you can't even go snowboarding with this amount of snow that just came down. So he didn't end up coming to practice, and then he ended up reaching out later at this text and go through a process. I mean, gosh, it was, I'm trying to think. I probably hopped on a couple of, at the time, I don't even know if Zoom was the thing. So Skype interviews.
Yep.
Back in 2018, couple of Skype interviews, couple of talks with Lauren. She was part of the search committee. Our director of operations, Lindsay Peterson, was part of it. The current assistant, Kayla Banworth at the time, who ended up being a coworker of mine. She was part of that. I remember doing an interview with Talent Plus. I mean, talking to their sports psych, coming out here to visit, and doing an in-person interview, kind of hanging out with their grad assistants at the time. The thing that I think about the grad assistants we were literally all about the same age because I was so young.
Right.
And played against each other in college. So got to meet a couple of players. Kelly Hunter was actually the first player I met at the time when she just finished her senior year, but she was still playing on the beach team.
Okay.
Because it was in the spring and beach season was going on. So it was, I mean, gosh, it was probably like a 3-4 week thing. And, that I, was so lucky to, able to receive this opportunity. And then I still, Harrison, if I'm being honest, I still don't think I can wrap my mind around what like Nebraska volleyball really is. Like the reach it has, the amount of followers we have, the effect that we have on not just Nebraska athletics, but like the sport of volleyball. And even, I mean, as you pointed out about volleyball day, like even women's sports, like, I mean, it's cool to see this volleyball program do things that were once, I think, thought of like there's no way of a women's sport could do. And now it's like, I mean, there's high school teams all over the country playing in their football stadiums. And, there's other sports that are thinking about doing that. Obviously, you mentioned Iowa basketball. I thought like Oklahoma softball was going to try to do something like that in their football stadium.
I think they could. They really could.
They really could. Obviously, I know their softball stadium is pretty baller, so they're kind of like, well, let's just stay in that thing right now.
Right.
But, there's so much, I mean, all summer long, I see the WNBAs on TV. I mean, just off the top of my head, like that's way more WNBA games than I could even think of. Obviously, I know it helps that Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA, but I mean, there's just so much attention on women's sports. And I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, we're 100% to blame for that. But I like to think there's a small piece of that this program is responsible for. So to answer your question, like, when did I realize like what I was getting myself into and how big it was? I still don't even think I have, I'm just, amazed and shocked every day that I get to come to work and this many people really care about our volleyball program,
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I'm always kind of blown away by it as well. Like, again, I keep using the example of Husker Volleyball Day. Did I know it was a big deal? Yeah. Did I expect to get packed? Yeah. They expect it to get to 92,000 plus, like maybe to expect it to be packed on everywhere around the stadium. Out at Lincoln to get through, like everyone's just going to be out and about, like it's the biggest college football game day that came here. Like, so it always blows my expectations away. And this would be a great text to kind of wrap up here. Again, just talking about how big Husker volleyball really is. He says, Michigan fan in Toronto here. I always enjoy listening to the show leading up to the game when the Huskers are on the schedule. Wish Michigan had local sports radio show as entertaining as y'all. I said Sipple once called Jim Harbaugh national treasure. Takes one to no one. He says good luck the rest of the season. And of course, he puts in there beat Sparty, as a Michigan fan would want. And then shout out Ryan all the way up there from Toronto. With that being said, we are up to the clock here. Don't go anywhere. We got one more segment with assistant coach Jaylen Reyes of Nebraska Volleyball.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com. Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall, they go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rolloffs, cleanup made simple.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
Tune in every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. for the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Sit back and enjoy listening to Dr. Chatters discuss real stories involving struggle, inspiration, and real-life experiences with special guests and insights. Remember, the higher the pressure, the greater the lift. The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Hi, I'm Eli Barnes, Assistant Vice President at Midwest Bank at the 70th and Pioneers and 27th Jamie Lane locations. I love working with families and small businesses right here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Banking shouldn't be complicated, and that's why we make it personal. Whether it's opening your child's first account or securing a loan for your next big step, I'm here to help. Stop in today and say hello. I'd love to meet you. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. Welcome into Serve and Volley with your host, Nebraska Assistant Coach and Recruiting Coordinator Jaylen Reyes.
All right, welcome back in. Third and final segment of the debut of Serve and Volley with Nebraska Volleyball Assistant Coach Jaylen Reyes. This show every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. And you guys will be able to join in through the text line or any of the streams. Don't got a ton of time here left, and I did promise that I knew we weren't going to get through your entire backstory within the first hour, but we do got Michigan tomorrow, and I'd feel wrong if we didn't talk about it a little bit. So, I mean, for you, what's the biggest jump going from, it's not like you didn't have a tough non-con slate, but now you're in the Big Ten. You know, what does that really mean for this Nebraska volleyball program? Now you're a full Big Ten conference play now. You'll be seeing these guys the rest of the season. It starts tomorrow with Michigan, who we're talking off air, pretty decent squad, 10-1.
Great squad. I mean, Erin Virtue, a friend of mine that I really respect. She's a gold medal winning assistant coach at the last Olympics, or 2 Olympics ago, I guess, technically. She was on the staff when they won the silver medal also in Paris. But Erin's done a really good job. You know, they've done a really nice job with the start of their season going 10-1. And some of the numbers they're putting up offensively is pretty eye-opening in terms of, man, they got a lot of real threats. Allison Jacobs is like a 4 or 5 year outside hitter now. She's been there a while. She's a really dynamic player. They have an outside hitter named Ella Demetrician. She's kind of from the Green Bay, Wisconsin area that we were recruiting when she was a little younger. And they have 2 setters. Morgan Burke is actually from Omaha Catholic. One of their setters is from Omaha, and local girl coming back home, which will be kind of fun. And they're running an offense. They're running a 6-2 offense, 2 dynamic opposites, and then they do a really nice job of setting the middle. So we're gonna have to serve really well, because if we don't serve really well and they're on the net with those 2 setters and those 2 middle blockers they have, they're going to be a handful. So, for us, it's we need to make sure we're ready defensively to handle these guys, because they're coming in rolling too. They're not just 10-1. They're 10-1 playing really, really a high level brand of volleyball. Numbers are through the roof, and they're coming in on I think it's like a 3, 4, 5 game winning streak. So they're feeling really good heading into conference play as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty solid run. I was just going back there. Yeah, it's at least a 1, 2, 3, 4 game winning streak, as they got Notre Dame back to back. They beat Virginia and then Central Michigan. But tomorrow, 6 p.m., we're hosting. When you are Nebraska, does it just feel like you get a little bit extra out of everybody with the target being on your back? Again, you're the number 1 team. Of course, the big win for teams to beat you to move up where the rest of the country would view, say, Michigan, if they're able to take down a number 1 team.
Yeah, no, I think I'd like to think we're a game that people circle on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be on national television, on the Big Ten Network, and I'm not in their huddle and stuff like that, and I'm sure there's a little bit of, hey, this is one out of the 20 games calendar year, or the 20 game conference calendar.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to think there's a little more, hey, you get to play at the Devaney Center against Nebraska to open up the Big Ten season. It's going to be the first Big Ten game because we're going to be starting before everybody else. So what a way to kick off conference and playing at a school like Michigan, a really elite university, and obviously a really, a great athletic department, and the volleyball team's on its way up. So we're excited, and we're gonna have to play well to get the result we want. And at the end of the day, it's two great teams that are gonna kind of go at it tomorrow.
Absolutely. Should be a lot of fun. Again, got a 1-loss Michigan team heading on the road in going to Lincoln, Nebraska. Nebraska hosting, obviously still undefeated on the season. 6 p.m. is the start. And of course, we will have the post-game show as well right here on 93.7 The Ticket. So if you guys want to catch that, Manny Munson will be joining us for that post-game show soon as that last set gets over. We'll start that one off. But nonetheless, this is going to wrap up Serve and Volley with assistant coach Jaylen Reyes. Again, this is going to be a weekly show every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Appreciate you guys listening, but don't go anywhere. Former Husker, DeMornay Piersonell up next.